Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something that's honestly a little terrifying, but deeply fascinating. We're looking at the hidden similarities between biological infections and digital hacks. We usually treat our physical health and our tech as completely separate universes, right? Totally different rules. But what if they're actually not? What if the underlying hostile architecture, the actual blueprint for how these systems are taken down from the inside, is exactly the same? Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Two cores, DNA and kernel.
Seriously, ask yourself, what could your laptop and your own physical body possibly have in common when it comes to being hijacked? I mean, it sounds like the setup to some crazy sci-fi story, but the reality? It's grounded entirely in the architecture of how advanced systems actually defend themselves against intruders.
Well, it turns out both of these systems possess a deeply guarded, kind of sacred core. In your digital devices, that core is the OS kernel. It's the absolute brain of the operating system, the ultimate authority that dictates literally what every single piece of hardware and software is allowed to do. Now, in your biological cells, that sacred core is your DNA, the fundamental blueprint of your existence. The rule here is simple. If an intruder controls the core, they completely control the entire system.
And here is where it gets a bit sketchy. Both of these foundational cores are highly vulnerable to targeted doomsday agents. We're not talking about your everyday, run-of-the-mill viruses that just give you a mild fever or cause a temporary computer glitch. No, these specific agents are ruthlessly designed to bypass the outer walls, embed themselves deep inside those sacred cores, and hijack them entirely. They aren't just disrupting the host, they are taking it over from the inside out. Section 2. The evolutionary arms race. We really need to completely reframe how we view infections. It's not just an illness, it's a full-on evolutionary arms race. Look at the digital threat domain. Your host defense system is your antivirus software. In the biological domain, it's your antibodies. But notice the predator's ultimate goal in both scenarios. Deactivate the host defense. These predators aren't just trying to make the host sick. They're actively hunting down and shutting off the host's defense systems. They don't just want to cause a ruckus. They want to blind the guards so they can operate with total impunity.
Section 3. Pathogens of the core. So, in the digital realm, the ultimate doomsday agent is what we call a rootkit. A rootkit embeds itself incredibly deep within the computer's OS kernel. It basically acts like a silent dictator, seizing absolute authority over the entire operating system. And because it lives at that fundamental root level, it can actually manipulate what your antivirus even sees. It's literally telling your defenses, hey, everything is perfectly fine here, while it completely, totally controls your machine. Now, mirroring that exact rootkit behavior in the biological realm is the Syphilis bacteria. This pathogen is so insidious. Just like the rootkit, if you leave it unchecked, it evades the body's initial alarms and stages a total hijack of the host's most vital systems. It just burrows deeper and deeper, eventually compromising the fundamental architecture of the human body and entirely bypassing the biological defenses that were meant to destroy it. Section 4. The fall of Al Capone. To really grasp this, let's look at the timeline of infamous mob boss Al Capone, because his condition perfectly maps out the progression of a biological core compromise. We start with phase 1, untreated syphilis. The pathogen has entered his system, but it's operating quietly, completely evading destruction by his immune system. Then things escalate to phase 2, neurosyphilis. The biological rootkit has now hit the sacred core, the brain and the nervous system. And finally, that leads straight into phase 3, total physical degradation. The pathogen has completely hijacked the system's instructions, triggering an absolutely devastating physical and mental collapse.
And that systemic collapse brings us to a really staggering number, 12. Ultimately, this biological pathogen was so incredibly successful at hijacking his system that it reduced Al Capone, this immensely powerful adult who ran a massive, calculated criminal empire, down to the cognitive function of a 12-year-old child. Let that sink in. His brain, his biological kernel, was so entirely compromised that his foundational instruction set literally just ceased to operate as an adult human.
It is such a chilling parallel to witness. So, knowing that both your devices and your own biology are locked in this relentless, invisible evolutionary arms race to protect their sacred cores, and knowing that these predators actively want to shut down your deepest defenses to gain total control, ask yourself this: which doomsday agent truly terrifies you more, the biological or the digital? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to always keep your defenses up.